What it is and what's good, y'all. Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, wildest, and tonight I'm here with a real special guest, a guy that I've worked with already. But for my audience, bro, introduce yourself, man.
What's going on? My name is Felix C. Arroyo. I am the host of JMC, the Journeyman Chronicles podcast, and I'm excited to be here, brother. It's an honor.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we definitely we did that episode probably about a month ago now, on the JMC Journeyman Chronicles, and we was talking shop, and it was a real good conversation, man, and real interesting platform, man, just because like we obviously do things differently, like you don't do any research. I didn't really do research on you for this one, whatever, but it's just like real natural and real personal and things like that. And I was like, I was honored to do it, and I don't know, like just hearing myself talk about what I love to do, it kind of just invigorates you. And I don't know if everybody else gets that feeling when they're on their podcast, like just after they're on your podcast, are they like, dang, like this, I feel good, like I felt great like after that podcast, man. So
that's dope. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That is actually, that's something I've asked a couple times, like now that we've talked about what you're doing, do you look at what you're doing differently? That like, do you see how far you've come from X, Y, and Z? Like I like to talk about shit like that, because when you're too close, you can't see the trees from the forest when you're too busy doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, do you take a step back and like you said, like listen to yourself and like actually like think about like, wow, done this, that, and the third, and you do kind of get hungry again. Like now I'm ready to re-up and do this again. So yeah, man, what you're talking about, it's the same thing for me, even though I'm hosting it.
Yeah, that's what's up. And for the audience, man, if y'all just tuning in, I need y'all to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, and then we're gonna put JMC's Felix's information in the bio and things like that, so you guys can check out his platform. But yeah, man, let's get it started though, man. So obviously, 4th of July was the other day, right? And everybody likes a good deal, right? Like everybody likes a sale, right? But I don't know if you heard, man, like there, where we're from, or where we live in PA, there's a gas station called Sheetz, right? And they was running running a sale on gas, like, and that's kind of crazy, like to even to think, right? And so, in honor of Independence Day, they made it was 1776. It was $1.77 and whatever the decimal, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's crazy because I seen it like I think at night, or I think I might have seen it real early in the morning, and then I left my house to do something. I actually went to go play some basketball. I should have got gas then, and then when I came back, then I seen lines, whatever, and I was like, oh snap! It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll check it out later. And then I'll tell you my experience later. But like, did you get to take advantage of that?
No, I stayed away from it, dog.
Oh, you did? On purpose?
Yeah, I did. I'll tell you why. Yeah, man, because I'm not gonna park my car in line for like an hour. There are lines that all the way out to the street, like all the way to like where I live. There's a Sheetz on State Road.
Okay.
Actually,
right when you leave your crib. Yeah.
Yep. That's a new one, and it's like all the way out to State Road. And I'm like, I'm good. Like I'm really, really good. I would in theory, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think had I known, because I got hip to it like through socials. Like I didn't really know about it until it was kind of halfway midday. So and I was like,
yeah, you was late.
By that point, I'm not even going to try. But yeah, that's not the first time Sheetz has done that either.
Okay.
Like, not for July 4th, but they've done like just when the gas was stupid expensive a couple years ago, they dropped it like half price just one day.
Wow.
And it was like, people were just waiting in line. I'm like, yeah, but you're burning gas just to sit in line to go get gas. I don't know. That's just, I don't know, man.
Dang,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, some people, and obviously, like there was like, Facebook today, or Facebook the following day. It was just like a lot of people just arguing, like, oh, you know what I mean? Why would you wait in line for that gas? Some people like, why are you hating on people getting that deal, whatever, and things like that. But it was kind of like, yeah, like you said, man, some of these sheets, some of these gas stations were like, it was like pandemonium a little bit. And when
Yeah.
I was driving past, like, and when I missed it, basically 2 times, I missed it, 2 opportunities. I was like, dang, I don't want to wait in that line, whatever. And it wasn't even that crazy, but it was just like, I'm all sweaty from playing ball. Like I'm trying to get home, get in the shower. I'm like, yo, it'll
Yeah.
die down because maybe the morning rush is gonna be the worst, but apparently it got worse than that. You know what I mean, at certain points in time. And it was crazy because I tried to do it then later in the evening. And when I got to it, it was a gas station on Old Philadelphia Pike, and it was a Sheets, whatever. And I went there, and yo, they all the like it was pretty much empty. So I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm about to take advantage. Like the rush is over. Then you go closer, and all them pumps had the yellow plastic on
Yep.
it saying like out of order or temporarily out of service. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, they sold out of the gas. You know what I mean? So
There's
then
a
I
lot of gas stations like that, bro. A lot of shit
yes,
that ran out
yeah,
of gas. Yeah.
yeah, so then I go to the one on Greenfield Road, right? And then I'm like, and there was a lot of cars like in the, in the pumps, whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, they got it, they got it. Yo, you get closer, they didn't have the yellow things on the pump. They had these like little white stickers on each like thing that says sold out, whatever. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And then so I was like, dang, I really missed it. And then as I'm going back home, I'm going kind of like by Sky Zone, like in that Greenfield Road, like
Yeah.
there's like industrial center or whatever. There's a little gas station. And I rode past it, and it said $1.75, whatever, for regular. And I'm like, I turned around, whatever, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this. And it's crazy because Sheets was doing it for all gases, and I'm really supposed to get premium. But I was like, nah, bro, I'm gonna put this one tank of regular ain't gonna hurt
You
it,
might as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so I put that joint in there. I was probably at like a quarter tank, and it cost like $16 to fill that joint up. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then people were talking about how like, yo, certain things shouldn't go on sale. Like, and there was like gas is one of them. They're like, oh, that stuff is probably water. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if they're allowed to do stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's
They
crazy, man.
always say that Sheets gas is the worst gas to
Oh, do
use
they?
in your. Yeah, that's like I've always heard that like from the old heads that were like mechanics and shit. Like for years, it was like, oh, don't use Sheets gas, and I'm like, I hear you, but I mean, like, I don't really see many Sunoco's, and we just started getting what Royal Farms over in this area. So Sheets, there's so many of them. Like, how do
Yeah,
you avoid
yeah,
it? Now I'm curious because you said you're supposed to be getting what, like 93, like that's
yeah.
what okay. I had an Infinity G35 once, and it was you had to put 93, and it was picky. Like if you put unleaded in it, you could
Yeah.
actually feel like when the transmission would go to shift, it would buck a little bit. Like I was like, all
Oh,
right, like, yeah, yeah. So I couldn't cheat. So like you didn't feel the difference at all when you were driving the
not yet. Yeah. Not yet. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh shit.
I'm not
I'm
trying
like,
to
I'm like,
jinx.
one- I'm like, one tank ain't gonna kill me, right? Like, I'm not gonna do that normally, but yeah,
No, I,
it's crazy though. But yeah, $1.77. And I looked it up the last time, and believe it or not, the last time it was $1.77 was February 2016. 2016, and the end of Obama's era. Yeah, I mean, that was his last year. That would have been his last year going out. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
yeah, because they and
Crazy. I was getting ready for you to say something like 2005 or some shit like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
2060. I remember when unleaded gas was 89 cents.
Oh my God, I do remember when it was under $1. I'm old enough
Yeah.
to remember that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like at a bunch of
Yeah, man.
stations. And it's crazy though because people didn't take advantage of it. Like I seen pictures of people like filling up multiple gas canisters and tanks, whatever. And I'm like, all right, man. I guess I mean, you're paying for it, so it's not free. But like, how do you feel about that? Like,
Yeah.
whenever there's a deal, people take like going overboard. Like, you know what I mean?
I guess it really, I guess at the end of the day, like it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah.
Some people, like, if you got especially at this time of year, like, do you have a landscaping business? Like, there's a lot of cats that are probably getting gasoline for their mowers. But you're right. There's probably some people that are just like, I'm going to get as much gas as I can. And it sucks. But like, when Sheets does that, like, I feel like something like that, everybody knows the score of the game. Like,
Okay.
like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. It's like Black Friday. It's like, don't go there at 6 o'clock in the morning and get angry because people are, you know, the score of the game. Like, gas is going to be this price for one day. Everybody's like, it's like a game. And it's like, may the best person win, I guess. That's why I stayed away from it. Cause I was like, I don't feel like that, because I lose my patience. I have a temper. And if I'm sitting in line and I'm like, oh, this guy's got like, you know, 5 2-gallon jugs in his trunk and he's gonna fill it. Yeah, I don't want to put myself in that position, bro.
Dang.
I probably would be getting kind of tight over that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Do you have road rage? Are you like kind of angry behind the wheel typically, or
I can get angry behind the wheel. I won't like times are different. Like I remember one time I was double parked in front of like the fountain shops over at Park City Mall, like right where the wine shop is there.
Yeah.
And like nobody likes it when you double park there. They want you to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But like I was with my mom and my wife went in and I was double parked and nobody was there. And somebody like came up behind me and they could have just went around me, but they wanted to be petty. So they like flashed their high beams and they honked. And I rolled down my window and I did the like roll them over motion, like keep it going. It's all good. And he honked again. And I got furious. I was like, so I got out my car, which like looking back at it now, like I probably shouldn't have done that. But I got out my car and I stood at the back of my car and I motioned to my tail lights. And I was like, look, it's blinking. I got my 4-ways. Go.
Yeah.
Like, why are you honking at me? I do get a little like worked up sometimes because I feel like common sense is a dying art.
Oh man. Especially,
you know what I mean?
especially
like,
driving, right? Like I feel like people like lost, like they forgot the rules. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, what are you doing out here? Like this is how we do things. Like, you know what I mean?
Especially when I drive to like I don't do it often, but when I go like to Baltimore or if I drive to Virginia, they drive like slow in the left lane. They don't. Yeah, and I'm like, why am I passing you in the right lane? Like this is horrible. But sometimes I do pass people in the right lane. I'm that kind of driver. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I gotta go.
I'll go around you. I definitely will go around you. So that's good. That's good, man. So today's episode, man, we just got a bunch of just a variety, man. We got a variety of different topics. You know what I mean? Just from just real life. We got some headlines, we got some music we're gonna talk about. And just to hear your perspective on things, because you know I know your platform, like I said, it's more like the journey, so to speak. And I guess we're gonna take a little journey, but just like a 280 plus journey, like you know what I mean, a social media journey. You know what I'm saying? So so there was a interesting video I seen, this first video that I'm going to share with you, and it was a guy talking about this conversation technique, and I guess he was like kind of expressing like how you can like overcome like negative situations and conversations. And I just want, you know, we're gonna kind of get your feedback, see what you think of it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But let me share the video real quick. Let me get that set up here. All right, so we got this video queued up here. And let's see what you think about this one, man. All right.
Best conversation technique ever. Okay. Yes and is when no matter what somebody says to you, even if it's negative, someone says to you, look, your product is too expensive. Yeah, and the reason why that is because we put more into L&D. Anytime you use yes and in a negative situation, it steers the conversation in a positive direction. Most people say yes but. And when you say yes but, you negate their thought. When you say yes and, you're building on their thoughts.
So like pivoting every time they say
always in a positive direction, no matter what you say to me. It doesn't matter how negative it is. Vin, we decided not to go with you. Yes, and I'd love to know why. Always positive. Otherwise people go, yeah, but what happened? Now you seem less. It's a very powerful language model. Best.
So what do you think about that? What do you think about that tip when in terms of like conversation? Do you think that applies only like to business, or do you think like just say, your wife is upset with you, you know what I mean? And do you think you could just yes and her, and then like she'd be like, yeah, he's validating my thoughts, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I actually really, really enjoyed that. And it's like, yeah, I think it applies to just conversation in general across the board. It's
okay.
I've always like that really does that builds on other aspects that can go in your favor. Like it's also like the delivery and the tone.
Okay.
Like, but that yes and that but like makes or breaks it. When he says it and I'm listening to him, I'm like, yeah, it makes absolute sense. It's also like a great way to show like you're still in control. Even though you're not receiving the outcome that you were hoping to receive, you're still in control. Like you knew that was going to happen. So it is a pretty dope way to interact with people. And I feel like even through podcasting and like interviewing people or talking to people, there is ways that you can kind of like control that conversation and move it a certain way by using certain words, by using the tones and the delivery. So that clip was just like, you could take that so many different ways, man. It was so dope. I loved it.
Yes. And I'll try to like use it, whatever, but no, yeah, I think I'm gonna try it out. I think I am gonna try to employ it. And I'm gonna see. I don't know. Is it one of those? Because like there's like weird like books out there that like they try to like you can like manipulate people's thoughts and things like that. Do you think is that like a form of manipulation, or is that just a way, like, because you say you're in control, whatever, and kind of manipulating is like being in control, so to speak. Can it be a little bit like sinister, or like a little bit shady, like that you're doing it if you're if you know that you're doing it and you know what you like? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if the end result of what you're trying to do is like the sale, like let's get the sale.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about manipulation. I don't know if I would use that word because
okay.
I feel like there's a stigma with that word. Like it's a bad thing. Like I don't think it's a bad thing to be like, how can I get this person to this point in the conversation where I want them? It's not so much like I'm going to make you think differently. It's more so like I'm going to take this conversation where I want you to go in a positive way.
Yes.
And still get my point across. I don't know if it's manipulation, but I guess to answer your question, if somebody does have bad tendencies with it, sure, why not? But that goes with any life. That goes with however you talk to people, one way or another.
Yeah.
Somebody has a goal in mind with the conversation.
Yeah.
As a goal in mind, we either going to have a positive conversation or we're going to have an affirming conversation, like me, like I'm going to get you to do what I need you to do. One way or another, there's people are doing that all across the board. So however people use it, I guess, is up to them. But it is interesting how just a word flip changes the direction of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like I said, when he talks, it's almost like he was prepared for it. Like,
yes.
I would love to know why. And so I feel people let their guard down when they have that type of response, because it's like, oh, okay, like you're on board for understanding that I wasn't going to go with you, but I feel comfortable now explaining why. And then probably within 10 minutes, you change your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So is it manipulation? I don't think so, but I can understand why people would think that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just in general, they want their thoughts validated, so to speak. So when you do say the but, you are negating it. It's almost like you're trying to argue with them, so to speak. But when you say yes, and it's like I hear you, and I'm gonna keep explaining my point of view. And like you said, like maybe that person like realized like, damn, like this is, because sometimes you get that salesperson that is so good that you like you ain't gonna buy nothing, and like you're like, no, I'm good, but they and they're not even too pushy. It's just the way they talk to you, and you're like, yo, you know what, bro, I'm gonna help you out, man. I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's the game too, where I don't know what it is. There's a part of me where I'm like you just said, I'm like, I wasn't going to buy this TV, but I respect the grind. And like, you actually got me looking at it differently.
Yep.
Just just the mere fact that I can appreciate what you did. Let's look at what you got. I've done that before, and I don't feel bad about it because it's like, wow, I can't knock the hustle. You know what I mean? Like it is. I like it. All right, good job.
Yeah, it's same thing too. Like when and that this is like an older one that I've heard, like just like using I statements as opposed to you statements. Like and that's probably more helpful in like an interpersonal, connection where it's like you talk about how you feel, like how you yourself feels versus blaming and pointing the finger, whatever. It's just that validation where people are like, okay, this you're taking accountability for what you're doing, and then it does put the ball in the other person's court where they're like, okay, well, what did I do? What's my part in this situation? And then maybe you can come to like a more common ground. But I think this is kind of like in that same ballpark a little bit to me. But
yeah, absolutely. And I've had interviews in the past where I had to like kind of well, not even interviews, just conversations with people where I'm like, I don't think I'm getting my point across. Let me use different words. Let me emphasize certain words differently than I would, just to kind of change the trajectory of this conversation to where I want you to go. And like, it's not so much like a bad thing. It's more like, I know the end result is positive. It could be really good if we do this, that, and the third. I just need you. I need you to meet me here, because some people need that reassurance. Like, oh, okay, he's on board with what I'm saying. Let me listen to him more, and the next thing you know, you're hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's over for you. Yep. So yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely be conscious about just the way I talk, and especially if I am, a negative situation, I'm gonna be conscious. Like I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna use yes and I'm gonna use my I statements, and then we're gonna see, we're gonna see how it turns the table there. But all right, let's switch it up, man. So I know you're a big hip hop dude. You know what I mean? Like, you used to rap, right? You used to spit back in the day. That's the logo, right? The logo is you, right?
Yeah. It's me.
That's what's up. So, all right, and I'm not gonna judge you for who you say. Well, it depends on who you say, but I'm not gonna judge you if you disagree. I mean, I'm gonna do a yes and, you know what I'm saying. But anyway,
Okay.
who is your GOAT? Like, who is the GOAT? Who is the greatest rapper of all time?
That's a tough question, and I hate to be that guy, bro. I really do, because someone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's gotta be that guy." Like, you just keep. I could pick one. I could say, in my opinion, Andre 3000 has always been the GOAT to me. I've always looked at KRS-One like that dude is the GOAT to me.
Okay.
But there's so different. As I get older, I start looking at hip hop music a little differently. Like, there's so many different levels that MCs become the MC. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how do you answer that question? It's like the whole like NBA GOAT. Like,
okay,
there's different eras, there's different styles, there's like who's truly the GOAT. But I for me personally, like, I grew up like AT Aliens by Outkast was the album that was like, yo, I want to rap. Rickle effortlessly just said some weird ass shit where it made you rewind it. Yeah, I said rewind because that's what we did. We had to rewind the tape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is he saying here? So that would be to me. But I'm also very aware of like the mainstream MCs and like the underground scene that a lot of people aren't getting the shine, that have been around for decades. That, are they considered the GOAT if they were to get the shine? Who knows? Who knows?
All right. So obviously, I think the consensus maybe, I mean, because like I would say the Michael Jordan of rap probably, is Jay-Z, right? Like, I think a lot of people kind of recognize him to be the greatest of all time. And you can pick it apart if you want to, but like, just think about the longevity, think about the impact, think about the influence, think about the business even, of hip hop. Who all together, who checks all the boxes. And I think the consensus, and he's my GOAT, you know what I'm saying? But there's a video out there, and the thing is, I've heard this narrative before, but there's a video out there that is talking about how like, I guess they're questioning his GOAT level, because they're like, there was never a time where Jay-Z was the hottest or best rapper in the game. So let me share that video, and like we're gonna react to this. All right, so go, man.
The best rapper in the game. Jay-Z came in the game in 1996. I think we can all agree that's Tupac's year. 1997, Biggie died. In 1998, which was kind of his breakout year, DMX had 2 #1 albums in that year. 1999, DMX again, who outsold Jay-Z by a big margin. 2000, Nelly and Eminem both went down. Now, 2001 would have been the best argument, but then Ludacris came in the game with hits like Area Codes, Move, Bitch, Roll Out. 2002, here go Eminem again, dropping the Eminem Show, another diamond album. As well as Nelly dropping another album that sold like 7 million. Jay-Z who? 2003 was obviously 50 Cent's year. He retired, came back in 2006. At that point, T.I. was on top of the game. 2007 undoubtedly goes to Kanye, graduation year, can't be serious. And 2008 to like 2011 clearly goes to Lil Wayne. So at what point was he the hottest rapper in the game? There is he was indisputably.
So that's the thing. Like, I think this is a semantic argument right there, because he says he did say best or hottest rapper, but then he said at what point was he ever the hottest rapper? And I think that's the thing. No, Jay-Z probably was never the hottest rapper, whatever, but like hottest don't necessarily make you the best. There's a lot of guys that are hot right now that don't hold a candle to like probably any, you know what I mean, any of the top 50 rappers, so to speak, whatever. So like, I don't know. I feel like we're having that's a semantic thing where it's like, all right, we grading somebody on just their record sales, because when you look at it, right, they talking about 96. You know, Jay-Z's last album was what, 2017, right? So that's 21 years of albums. Yeah, I mean, he got like 14 #1 albums. I think that just shows the longevity, even despite there other being people that were like more relevant or even hotter or maybe outsold him. He's the constant, like he's the constant throughout all that time, whatever. So what do you kind of think about what they said about Jay-Z in that regard? Did you ever look at him as the, like, yeah, you know what I mean, because you didn't say he was your GOAT, but did you ever recognize him as like, oh yeah, he's the man? Like, or when was that? When did he arrive to you, I guess?
I think for me, he arrived, it wasn't right away for me, but I feel like as time went on, probably like, I don't know, probably about like 10, 15 years ago, because you're right. Even though he wasn't probably dropping the hottest shit, it wasn't like he wasn't dropping hot shit.
Yeah.
And everybody like watching that video, and I don't know who that was, but the gentleman kept naming who was dropping the hottest album. And I'm like, not for nothing, but I mean, where is Nelly? Like, even when you talk about DMX, like DMX had 2 #1 albums that year. For me, those 2 albums were fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Jay-Z was on, I'm pretty sure, on X's second album. Even if he wasn't, he ended up trying to form that group with Ja Rule.
Yeah.
So, and then you look at Kanye, that's through Jay-Z's camp, that first album. So one way or another, his hands are in the mix. I don't like, you're right, it is a semantics game, because it's when I hear people making these arguments, I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but you're almost saying if he didn't drop the hottest album, then he's not a GOAT. He's consistently putting shit out. Not only that, to have like collaborations and features, like there's artists right now that will pay whatever they need to just to get a 16 or even like he does like these 32 bar verses now.
Yeah.
Or more, just because he is who he is. The song may not have nothing to do with what he's talking about, but the fact that he's on it, it's a dope ass track. So I think I personally don't have any problems if somebody's like, I feel like he's the GOAT. He's everything that he's doing and how he was able to maintain the momentum and switch up and do things differently. And, you know, the whole shit with Dame and how Rockefeller kind of, the whole fam that kind of was involved in there is no longer together, but he had to reinvent himself to stay consistent. And I feel like that is that you can take notes from that. If anybody should be giving out classes in that, it should be Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I got
no
problem.
Yeah, Jay-Z is I think he's one of those people because I think when I was, getting into rap when I was a younger kid, obviously, yeah, you are going for whatever was hot, like the hottest at that time. Like, yeah, you probably were listening to a little bit of country grammar from Nelly. You were listening to 50 Cent with like when 2003 was crazy, But yeah, Jay-Z was always there. And Jay-Z had what I mean? He was a part of the biggest and probably the best rap group, what I mean? A collective, I mean, because they had State Property. Dipset was a part of Rockefeller at one point in time. And it was just like, yo, but you got this guy, he's like the general of all of that, what I mean, so to speak. And yeah, he always was that constant. But Jay-Z is one of them rappers, like truly you can listen back to his older stuff and it really ages like wine. Like that's how I've always felt, about it. And it wasn't probably until I was like a senior in high school to where like I'm really digging back into his old stuff and I'm thinking like, oh snap, because I listened to this stuff maybe when it came out at one point in time, but like really digging into it, I'm like, yo, this dude is the GOAT. Like he really is the GOAT. And for me, I think it was like the blueprint, like 2001. I think that's when he planted his flag. It's like, all right, I'm here. I'm here forever. Like y'all gonna remember me. Like on that album, that's when he came at Nas. That's the Takeover album. That's when H to the Izzo. So like that song itself. That's like just a Jay-Z anthem. Like just about him. Like I'm here. Like I'm the the God, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I just felt like his music has always stood the test of time. Like even the old stuff, even Reasonable Doubt stuff. Like you could still listen to that stuff and nobody raps like Jay-Z though. You know what I mean? Like he's truly original. Like nobody raps like him. Nobody can really steal his flow. And I just think like, yeah, and like you said, like he's sought after. Like if he drops a verse or 32 whatever on your track, it's like automatically like the most talked about track. Like, you know what I mean? And he's done that now in the last several years where it's like everybody waiting for that verse and you're like, oh, Jay-Z went crazy, you know what I mean? And he's just talking about just different stuff, like
That's
not
what
even necessarily like Nas, like whatever, but he's just talking about life and business and just you could see his ascension like the whole way. But
yep, I was getting ready to say that even with his bars, when you listen back to Reasonable Doubt, his flow is still dope, but you can see like where he grew from that, like the maturity level in his rhymes and what he's talking about. But even though he's grown and he's talking about different things, it's still so dope just to listen to him drop something. And it's like there's times where I may listen to something new that he's done or a feature and be like, well, that's something different. And then I'll listen to it again. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of gems. There's a lot of things that he drops with and the fact that he doesn't write anything down. That's unique for me. When he did the collaboration album with Linkin Park, is where I'm like, oh, you can really switch it up and adapt. That was dope to me. So yeah, man, I don't think we're gonna see anybody like him for some time, but I also understand like if you and I are coming from a certain era where we were lucky enough to see the beginning of Jay-Z. So maybe there's some of these young cats, hopefully like 20 some years from now, will have a catalog where they can, like I think of the J. Cole's, like I think of like the Kendrick Lamar's that like 20 years from now, they're already there where they could really probably step into that upper echelon conversation, like the GOATs. But yeah, Jay-Z without a doubt, man. That's anything he writes, even though I may not be a fan of the song itself, I'll always enjoy listening to his bars.
Yeah. What's your favorite Jay-Z album? Or maybe you think the best Jay-Z album you think?
I Reasonable Doubt, that's a special one for me because when well, forgive me, it's Reasonable Doubt, but it's also the second one he came out with, Volume 1.
Volume 1, yeah.
I actually saw Jay-Z perform at the Millersville, like the Millersville gym. I forget the name of it. Him and KRS-One came. I got a ticket for like $20 some to see Jay-Z and KRS-One. Yeah. And my mom was like, you got to be home by 1. And I was like, all right. Like it started at 8. So I got to see Jay-Z perform live, and it was dope. Yo, it was like just seeing him like so close to me, and he was just rhyming, but he had such a huge entourage with him, and
For
a
real.
bunch of
Yeah.
yeah. But the reason why I
That's when
say
he
this,
that's probably when he was still hustling a little bit, you know what I mean?
oh
Like he
yeah,
yeah.
Biggie had just died,
Oh
and so
wow.
yeah, it was like this, there was like this vibe where he was kind of like taking over he was taking the torch, so to speak, and it was like you could tell. But the reason why I bring that up is because it was that time, that era, that's really special to me. So when I listen to Reasonable Doubt, when I listen to Volume One, um I don't as he kind of like grew, I never really followed his music religiously where I
Okay.
was like, you know what I mean, like I knew every song, but obviously the hits and the bars and and the features, I was always kind of like privy to it and always appreciated when I heard it. But yeah, but Reasonable Doubt is his style is different.
Yeah.
He still has that same cadence. It's just what he's talking about is it's just different now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a dope artist, man.
Yeah, definitely. I think his best album is probably, I mean, overall body where I think it is Blueprint, the first Blueprint. It just like from start to finish, I think it's flawless. Like I think,
Yeah.
I could play that, I could literally play that album anytime. And I think because there was a time where we were just like it's way past that album and we were listening to that album like every day, like you know what I mean, maybe just kind of stuck. And I think, yeah, like like just something about the takeover, like that is like that's one of my favorite diss tracks of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And people were like, oh, Ether was better or he killed it. I'm like, no, but like it's a better song though. Like it's like you could play that song and it's just like just the way the beat comes in, you know what I mean? Like he had an amazing production, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so I don't want to say he had help over the years, but like, yeah, he's had a good machine, he's had a good team around him, but
Sure,
like
sure.
it's amazing.
Even performing that song, he performed it on Unplugged on MTV.
Yeah, yeah.
He performed it with the Roots band.
Mm.
So that's when I like really listened to the lyrics of that song, and that was probably one of my favorite like battles, if you want to consider that. Pretty. That was when rhyming was like they really went for the jugular.
Yeah.
I personally think Ether was the better diss track, but I do feel that the takeover held its own. Like I don't feel like anybody lost. I just feel like they both really put each other in their place. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was a fan. I was a fan of that. Like you don't see that anymore. It's different now. And I'm not trying to sound like an old head, but it's different now. But yeah, man, Ether and the takeover. I can listen to that now and just you make that screw face.
Yeah, yeah. That.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And I did get to see Jay-Z one time. Is actually Watch the Throne tour. I saw him in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall. And that was a crazy concert because it was like that's like one of his like, that moment too with him and Kanye and like them like kind of just exerting their dominance over the game. And they had the dual stage. It was crazy, man. Like you could, when he did You Don't Know and like turn my music high, like you get the pyrotechnics, like you could feel the flames. It was crazy. Like it was, I'm always going to remember that concert, man. So, but yeah, definitely, man. Definitely to me, the GOAT. And I don't think you don't have to be the hottest rapper to be the best rapper, so to speak. I mean, and even there, like Andre 3000 was never, because I respect you saying 3K, you know what I'm saying? But he was never there was never a time where he was like the hottest rapper, but he's most consistent. Like he can paint pictures like nobody else, you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah.
But all right. Off of music, man, let's get into some of these headlines, man. There's some crazy stuff happening in the world, man. And so the first thing, all right. I know that there's been lately, like just in society, whatever, there's been a push to, we want to protect women, right? Like we want to make sure that they're feeling safe, and and then you always hear about like just crazy stories, like especially when it comes to like women using these like ride sharing services, whether it's Uber or Lyft or anything like that. So but something crazy happened, man, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. There was a video that kind of gets a little bit details, but I watched it enough that I know what's going on. So, but I'm gonna read this headline. So it says, A Kentucky woman visiting Texas, right? She was visiting her boyfriend that lives in El Paso, is accused of shooting and killing her Uber driver after she wrongly believed he was kidnapping her and driving to Mexico, authorities say. She allegedly saw road signs for Juarez, panicked, and shot him in the back of the head. Now, when we get into this, right, like, that's the thing. Like, the car was riding on the freeway. Like, it wasn't like he wasn't parked or anything like that. Like, so it went over barriers, it crashed. And this is what happened. So she shoots the guy, right? And he's I think he's like kind of unconscious. She didn't tell when she called the police or when she talked to authorities, she didn't say that she feared for her life, but she took a picture of the guy and then sent it to her boyfriend and then called the cops, whatever. So like, I guess, like I said, I'm all for women feeling safe in Ubers, but at what point do you, like, but how paranoid do you have to be to think that somebody is like kidnapping you at that point? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, do we get now? We got to protect the Uber drivers. Now you got to put that, like how like cabs are. They got that like plexiglass and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? And the family, they feel that like stereotypes have played a role in this tragedy because you hear stuff about stuff going on in the border and things like that. But the thing is, I've always heard about people kind of trying to get people into the country. I never heard about. I don't hear too many stories about people kidnapping and taking them to Mexico. So like, what gives, man? What is that about? Like,
I remember when I read this, it was a convoluted mix of emotions for me because I was like, you're right. You're like, man, like I would hate for any woman to feel like they're fearing for their life if they feel that we're going to get kidnapped. You hear about sex trafficking and all this like serious shit that doesn't really get enough conversation. But it was in El Paso. Is that where?
That's where. She was visiting the boyfriend.
So, I feel like you would see a road sign for Juarez in that area. I don't feel like it's not like she got picked up in like Florida and fell asleep and woke up and he's driving the Juarez. Like, I like, what was it that prompted her fear?
Yeah,
and so it's like, where do we draw the like? How do you handle that? Like, you don't want to negate somebody's feelings and emotions in this type of situation. Like, fuck, if she felt she was fearing for her life, all right, but what was it that prompted it? In that area. If I'm an Uber driver and I'm picking up somebody here and I'm on Route 30 and I'm passing signs for, I don't know, like freaking whatever, someplace in there.
I know. Yeah, so it's hard to like even.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I'm past. It says Greenfield. Why are you taking me this way? I'm on 30. Like, this is, what are you talking about? So,
or you know what? Just say you going 222, right? And then like, and you drive it, and it say Denver, and like, I don't know, somebody just don't like, oh my god, are you taking me to Colorado? It's like, no, there's a Denver.
There's a Denver here.
There's a Denver, PA. Like,
Oh man, I like, one of the things about Uber driving, like for me, like I've never been a big fan of my wife ever taking an Uber. I would always tell her, like, yo, whenever you go out, like if you can't drive home, I'll come get you. Don't take an Uber.
Okay.
I just, and maybe that's like a male chauvinistic thing to say. I'm not genuinely trying to be like that. It's just like my nature to be like, I don't want my wife getting in a car by herself with a stranger, because there's a lot of crazy people out there.
Yeah.
But I go back to like, what the hell was this guy doing? He was just driving.
Like you have like, if you got a loaded gun, right? And then like, I don't know, I feel like at that point you have full control, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't like she warned the guy. It don't seem like she said anything to him, because I'm sure if she would have panicked and said, hey, where the hell are you taking me? Like, stop this car right now. Right. I'm sure the dude would have been like, oh my, what's going on? And then, you know what I mean? But like, no, while he, and that's dumb. Like, it's like, do you have a death wish? Like while he's driving, like you do that? Like, I just don't get it. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Did she kill him, or was he like?
What? So he was in critical condition. He goes to the hospital, and then so she was charged originally with aggravated assault. His family took him off life support because it probably the outlook didn't look too good. And then once he dies, then now she's charged with homicide. So
I just don't know, like, and I'll play devil's advocate here, just for how do you, like, what's your defense?
yeah.
Is it literally just I had a fear?
Yeah, is that enough? Yeah.
Yeah, like there wasn't a conversation, like you said, like, where are we going? Where are you taking me? And was he ignoring you? Was he like taking different routes that you weren't accustomed to? Like, was he just, that's all it was I just felt like something was wrong? I don't know, man. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about, you shot somebody in the back of the head and they're no longer here now.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, man. That's dicey.
That is dicey. That is dicey. And I don't know, like, but stuff like this always creates a weird precedent where like what they about to start video camera, which that might make it safer for both people, but they might start having to record the ride, record it, they might have audio, they might, again, they might have to put like plexiglass or something like that, in there. And then you're probably feeling more trapped. You're probably feeling like you're in a cop car or something like that. You know what I mean? When you got recordings and all this, whatever, now it feels like something else. But no, I like what you said though, where you say like you don't want to let your wife like ride in the Uber. I know that that's the thing now, because nobody wants, there's a lot of people that are a little bit more responsible. I know some women that like take Ubers, and usually they're with a group though. They're never like just by themselves.
Right.
But yeah, I can see how that could be a little dicey, where it's like, I don't know, man. These guys, especially, if your woman looks good or whatever, like, they might, and it's late at night, like nobody who's gonna know type thing. But yeah, it's a crazy world, man. It's always something happening, man. So but yeah, man. So let's switch it up, man. This is a little bit more fun though, this one. So all right, man. This is funny. So we're gonna talk about plastic surgery. We're gonna talk about like a procedure. So, but this is a man getting a procedure, right? So there's a man that elected to get a leg lengthening surgery, right? And he says it's because his crush turned him down when he, and here's the thing, this is what it says a Georgia man is reaching new heights. What a pun right there. After undergoing a $80,000 surgery to make himself taller after a woman rejected him for being too short. His name is Denzel Siggers. The 27-year-old man from Atlanta has documented his journey on TikTok under the username. We'll skip that. It says, in the videos, he showcases his rigorous rehabilitation process after the limb lengthening surgery in December 2022, which took him from 5'5" to 6 feet tall. It says the motivation behind the physical transformation was his crush declining his advances, partially due to his modest size. He says, in my teens, I was once rejected by a girl, and I had a huge crush on. And although she found me attractive, her reasoning was that I was too short and too young for her. He explained. It says the former Navy medic says her words stayed with him for years, which prevented him from approaching women. Throughout the years, he researched ways to get taller and came across the groundbreaking surgery, though it's no easy procedure. So, like, yeah, they talk about like kind of how strenuous it is and things like that. And you know what? The first time I seen this, people was like, "Dang, bro, all you did was make yourself 6 feet tall. Like I would have went for 6'5", like or something like that, whatever." But I guess my first question before we even react to that is like, have you ever wanted to change something about yourself due to a woman's reaction to you? You know what I mean, have you ever
sure.
Like, well, change something that you can't change about yourself. I mean, because you can't make yourself taller. Like, you naturally can't do that. Like, because if a girl tells you, oh, you're getting a little chubby, oh, all right, I'm about to do these abs, I'm about to do these crunches, whatever.
Yeah. I've never gone hard like that. Like, I have had moments where I was like, I wanted to change some things, but I don't think it was change some things based off of a reaction from a woman. Sure. But I don't think it was ever something like that lasted that long. Usually, that type of fire burns out and you just kind of like pay no mind anymore.
Yeah.
I've never had that desire to go so hard where I pay $80,000 for a procedure, which I'm like, how is what? So like, I was reading it and I was looking at it, but like, and I was watching that video, and it looks very strenuous. There's a lot
crazy.
there's a lot of ins and outs. But so what are they doing? Like, are they adding to the bone length, or are they stretching?
So what they do, so what I read was, it's like they cut the bone, right? They cut the bone, and then they obviously like put some rods like in there to extend it, and apparently new bone can grow. Like there's like this hole that will connect, like there's a space, and apparently new bone can actually grow, and it kind of connects it. But I'm like, I feel like you still gonna need those stabilizers, like, you know what I mean, for a long time, because I just feel like, I don't know.
He's not playing a pickup game anytime soon, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like what does that do for your quality of life? Like, yeah, you might be taller, but like, yeah, can you be as active? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, what are the risks of something like that? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like your leg is gonna snap. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah. I think there's a deeper issue here where it's like, where are you? And look, I'm gonna sound like an asshole, and I'm not trying to. I'm just like, this is what everyone thinks. I feel like it's like, where are you? Where's your emotional state when you're okay with doing something like that? Like, is there deeper issues that this gentleman, is there deeper issues that he's dealing with where he's like, this is what I got to do. This is what I gotta do. What happened? So he's 5 inches taller, but what if he gets
7 inches, 5'5" to 6 foot? That's 7. Yeah.
Oh, so forgive me. So
he need that extra 2, man. He need that extra.
There's a whole difference there. What's he gonna do when someone's like, I don't know, I don't like, your shoulders are too broad. Like, what point are you allowing people to dictate how you interact and perceive yourself? Like, a lot of times you see this with like women and the filters and like body shaming and shit like that, but now it's like, this is a whole different take on it. Like, my man actually, and I can't imagine an insurance carrier paying for this, so I would have to think that this is something that he paid either out of pocket for. Did he get a GoFundMe, or like what are we doing, bro? Just to get to this point, and then like what? Like, you get into a car accident, God forbid, and you lose a leg. Like, all that for what? Like, I don't know, man. Like, while watching this, I felt very sad for some reason. I'm happy for him. And then another thing too is like, yo, is this like, you read anything on the internet? Like, is it true? Like, is that real? But like, apparently, like, if it is, I'm happy for him. Just, damn, dog, like, 80K. Yeah. I don't know. I think I had to get some platform shoes and just, I don't know, work on stretching.
Or just go for shorter women. Like, I mean, like, there's a lot of 5 foot. There's a lot of 5 foot women. There's a lot of 5 foot women out there. I mean, and shorter. Yeah, I mean, maybe go for, little women or something. I don't know, but like yeah, that's something that's.
My wife is 5'3". That's a nice size. There's nothing wrong. I don't know, man. Like, there's plenty that are in that 5'3", 5'5" height, beautiful women that I don't get it. But hey, if he did it, obviously he went through it. I hope it works. I hope his self-esteem is up there. It's climbing the charts.
Definitely. I've wanted to change certain things, but like things that are changeable, like, about myself. But like, if there was anything that like I just knew I couldn't change, like, you just kind of gotta learn how to deal with that type of stuff, whatever, you know what I mean? And like, I think women can feel that too. Like, they can feel that, like, that confidence. They can feel that assurance that you have of yourself, where like, it's like, you're not, not that you're not taking no for an answer, but that you know how to carry it. How to, like, be in your comfortable in your own skin. And like I said, I never, I am a little bit privileged. Like, I'm still taller than this guy. I'm 6'1". So like, maybe I'm coming from a place like, you don't understand, whatever. But I feel like there's a lot of short guys that still do their thing. Most of these famous celebrities, like there's a lot of celebrities that are short guys. Like I think we think that they're taller, but like all these actors, all these rappers, like there's a lot of short men out there. You know what I mean? Like, and they seem to be doing fine. You know what I mean? So
we all have shortcomings. I have a flat head back here.
Okay.
And every time I see someone get a nice fade, and I'm always like, that's the kind of fade I want, but I can't get the fade that I see a lot of cats get because I have this flat part of my head, so it don't look right.
Yeah.
And I got the knuckles in my head.
Okay.
So that would be something where I was like, man, I wish I didn't have that, because there's always, I can't get the Caesar. You know, back when the Caesar was a dope ass style to get, I couldn't, because I would have these dents in my head. But then I just was like, well, that's just how it is. Like, I just get different hairstyles. Like, everybody's got something that they want to change, but like, you can't. Another thing too, real quick, is like, he's on front page, so to speak. He's all over the internet for what he did. So like, how's a woman going to perceive you? Like, are they going to be like, you're confident, or you're willing to make such a drastic change? Your emotional state. Like, I go back to that. So God bless him.
God bless him, man. God bless him. Another crazy headline. That was wild, man. But let's switch it up, man. Last thing before we get into the podcast. Yo, man, lab created chicken, man. Lab created chicken, yo. So man, I think this is just nuts, man. But the FDA. So here it says San Francisco and Washington D.C. restaurants given exclusive access to sell dishes made with lab-grown chicken. It says scientists have figured out a meat production process that doesn't require slaughtering live animals, and now 2 restaurants will be the first to serve lab-grown chicken to the general public. Let's see. It says, for context, the sale approval is new. This was a couple weeks ago. U.S. Agriculture Department green-lighted 2 California companies, Upside Foods and Good Meat, on the sale of chicken derived from animal cells. So it does still come from animals in some ways. But again, it's made in a laboratory, man. So I guess first, man, are you eating, or are you interested? Do you want to taste the lab grown chicken, man? Do you want to eat that?
No, just off of like hearing that, like, do you want to eat lab grown chicken? No, I don't. I think I don't want to know. Maybe that's better for me. No, I don't want to eat it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I see a couple of different things, man. Like there's one, just because the FDA approves it doesn't mean that it's a good idea. It doesn't even mean it's necessarily safe, whatever. I just seen this video where it was comparing like American Heinz ketchup to Canadian Heinz ketchup, and like Canadian Heinz ketchup has like 5 ingredients. I mean, pretty standard. Our stuff is like all type of whatever. You don't even know how to pronounce half of this stuff, whatever. And I'm not gonna act like I'm super conscious and I'm like looking at the labels for everything that I eat, because I know I eat like some crappy stuff, whatever. But like, come on, man. Like, I already don't eat plant-based meat. So why would I want to eat meat that's like made in a laboratory? Like, it just seems kind of crazy to me. I don't know.
Yeah. And who knows what, I mean, like, we're probably already eating lab created meat. They're just now being, sort of honest about it now. Like, I mean, is Mickey D's real chicken? Is these frozen chicken tenders you buy at the grocery store? Is that right? I believe it is, but who knows what they've been doing? Like, I think a lot of stuff that we're eating, like, you're right, not everybody the average person isn't going through with a checklist. Like, are you meeting this criteria? They're just gonna put the money in the vending machine, grab the processed food at the grocery store, and they're gonna eat what they want. But when you start wording it like lab created meat,
that's
I don't want to go to Prime 404, whatever it is in town, and pay a hefty price and have that asterisk down there like lab created meat, FDA approved. Like, no, I don't. That just killed my whole vibe. I don't want to think about it.
I just think, and another thing, I think this does lead to the misleading of like companies misleading, companies, like whether it's like grocery stores, like them kind of slipping the lab grown chicken and like mislabeling it, vendors doing that to the grocery stores, and then like restaurants like slip, because they already do that with fish. Like, I seen this other thing where it's like, you order a fish and you thinking you getting red snapper and you eating swai, and it's like, bro, I don't want no damn swai. I don't want no tilapia or nothing like that. Like I want what I ordered, whatever. So aren't companies gonna, like, I feel like it just leads to the cutting of corners, you know what I mean? And I get it, you don't want to, animals, there's animal rights and things like that, but like, come on, man, we've been doing this for a long time. I can understand if it was unsustainable. I can understand if you're doing this for like, countries that are, I mean, if we want to solve world hunger, that makes sense. I mean, MREs for military and stuff like that, where you can't, I mean, people go, I can understand that, but like just regular consumers, like, nah, man, don't give me that, bro. I don't want that.
I can't imagine that it would take off. Like, I can't see like a growing, swarming, welcoming party of people just being like, yeah, we love this shit.
Yeah.
Man, like lab created, nah.
Yeah, lab created sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. But so, man, yeah, that was good, man. Good random conversation, man, about a bunch of different things, man. But yo, so Felix, man, we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna talk about the JMC before we go. So the Journeyman Chronicles podcast. All right. So I guess for my audience, man, tell us what it is, and then ultimately, how did you get started with this platform, man?
JMC is a podcast based on the human conversation. So it's getting to know different people from different walks of life within Lancaster County. And it's like getting to know people so that we can maybe put down some stereotypes, or maybe like the assumptions of what we think of people can be quickly dismantled, because we all are guilty of thinking we might understand somebody just based off of how they look or maybe where they come from. And then when you start talking to them, you're like, oh, actually, I get along with such person. We share a lot of really important views in life. Yeah. And while doing this podcast and talking with so many different people, it's opened up my perspective on some things. I've always felt like I was an open-minded person, but I'm human. So there are times where I'm like, I don't know if I should talk to this person. I should talk to that person. And then I ended up like just being completely surprised by the conversation. So that's what the podcast really in a nutshell is about. How it started was I had with my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and then at one point my wife's brother, 2 different times, a conversation about let's do a podcast came up, and it never came to fruition. We're just busy as people, and it's always a lot of conversation, but no follow through on everybody's part, including mine. And then I was working at FedEx Freight as a dock worker, just working so many hours a day, working in the heat, working in the cold. You're always dirty. You're always tired. I sat on a tow motor for like 10 hours, give or take. And something inside me was like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this, there's something I want to do. What is it? Like, I can't see myself doing this anymore. You start working with cats that are doing that in their 60s. And I was like in my early 40s, like, I don't want to, I'm over maxed out here. You know what I mean? All of a sudden it was just like, I was listening to a lot of podcasts at that time. And I still do, but there were several that I was listening to that they were interviewing celebrities. And I always enjoyed like listening to how they started their career and what they went through and the different avenues of this, that, and the third. And I was like, man, that's exciting to hear. And I've always been one to enjoy talking to people and shooting the shit and like getting that information from them.
Okay.
And so then it was just like one day I just literally stood there in the middle of the dock at FedEx and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I literally got on my tow motor, drove into a trailer so nobody could see me, and I got out my phone and I went on Amazon and I got I got a USB mic, I got the stand. When you're starting off, you're just kind of like whatever works. You're trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And then my wife took a picture of me like setting it up and trying to learning the software, and then it just kind of just started. I interviewed my wife as my first guest. Said, I want you to be my first interview because I was comfortable with my wife. I didn't know what I was doing, and I always felt my wife had a very interesting journey. She's a wound care specialist,
Oh,
and she's also manager of home care nurses. So she's got a lot of experience in this field. So we did it. I uploaded it. I was pretty surprised how easy it was to get your podcast on Spotify and iHeart and Google and shit. And then, like, you get that response from friends and family. And then it's just like, all right, this is something I think I could really enjoy doing. I love the process of it. And I just said, I'm just gonna keep going. And then it just kind of snowballed into like this, let's get people and share their journey. And it's a very humbling experience also, because you kind of feel like, oh, I could do this. I got the golden ticket in my mind. Like I need to do this. And then you're like, nah, man, like, you only getting like 5 plays a week, that's sometimes. But yeah, that's how it started for me, man. It was just like, I love talking to people. I love sharing people's story, because I feel like I'm good at that for whatever reason. I'm just good at facilitating somebody's experience in this world, and like, how can I share that to other people? And then also like incorporating like different ways of editing and making it maybe a story, and I would add music and sound effects. I've gone through different styles of how I want to do it, but I just feel like I'm on this like train of like, I love what I'm doing. And I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I got a good feeling like if I keep doing this, that there's something big is going to come out of it. So
that's good, man. So you said you listened to a lot of different podcasts. Like, what were some of the podcasts that you were like heavy into back then?
Back then there were a couple that I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Talib Kweli's People Party was a big one.
Okay.
Because I grew up listening to Talib. And seeing him shift, and I would also follow him on Twitter.
Okay.
And he was like he just puts everybody on blast on Twitter, and
then they put him on blast for messing with some of these for Sarah Jada.
Yeah. He definitely, like, he has this ability to be like let's do it, and let's get to the bottom of it, whatever it is. And so when he started doing the podcast, he was just interviewing like different types of people. They were celebrities, but they were also like politicians, and then they were business people, and they were all different races.
Okay.
But it was all within, like, he never like came off like he was selling out. It was always true to what he always stood for, which was like the people and speaking for the people. So that was one. There was another one, like I listened to a lot of NPR, so I would listen to Radio Lab.
Okay.
Yeah, like I loved Radio Lab, like listening to stories being told.
Yeah.
So I try to incorporate that on my podcast. I listened to one other podcast, which is probably no one's probably gonna know. It's called damn it, it's got Jason Bateman, it's got Will Arnett, and it's got Sean.
So it's like a comedy podcast?
Yeah, sort of, but they interview celebrities, and they have like a comedic way of going about it, but they're still like engaging in really deep conversation. Forgive me, the name of that is I'm drawing a blank, but I would listen to that, and I was always kind of like, every podcast I listened to, I was always, I can do that. I can engage like that. So that's how it like kind of sparked for me in my mind.
Okay. Did you ever listen to like because you're older, like you ever listen to like Combat Jack? Are you familiar with Combat Jack? Okay. So like that's like, in terms of like hip hop podcasts and stuff like that, like a lot of people looked at him as like the hip hop pod, like God, so to speak. And he passed away several years ago now. And then it was just like a void. But yeah, I was listening to like since 2016, like Joe Budden. I was listening to Combat Jack, Tag Stone, like Brilliant Idiots with Charlemagne the God and stuff like that. And just kind of, in other local podcasts and stuff. And yeah, so, but like same thing with you, like I felt like, I could do this, whatever. And other people also kind of like, yo, man, you got all these opinions. Like, why don't you jump out there? And then I finally did. And we, and if you want to hear more about my story, you can listen to JMC podcast, episodes 56, 60. Is it 60?
Yeah. It is 56, 7, 8. No, you're the second to last, so I think you're 57.
57. Okay. I knew I was close. I was close there.
Oh, forgive me. 60.
63.
67. I ended with 60.
Okay. I know, I know it's something 7. I knew it's something like that, but all right, it's good. So you talk to a lot of different people, just like I do, but like, how do you go about like choosing your guests? Like I know your first guest was your wife. Is she like part of this process at all, or is it like, or do people just kind of reach out to you? Do you reach out to people? How do you go about getting your guests on your platform?
So she's a huge part of it, and a lot of it is behind the scenes. Because not only is she helping literally with like finding people with me, but she just holds down like shit here so I can do what I'm doing.
Nice.
Like when you came over, like I always start at 8 p.m. because it helps. Like we get the kids to bed. Really, my wife gets the kids to bed, and so. But she's also like she's bringing a lot of people to my attention that I did, and it started right from the very beginning. So there's a lot of people like Marquise Lupton of TLC.
You mean was it?
Forgive me, TCP.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgive me. And he's doing a lot of things right now, and with ITF Radio, and it's also well known in the city of Lancaster for the work that he's done. I didn't know him though until my wife brought him up, and so I use him as an example because he's like a huge, intricate part of my getting to know different people because I've met them through him, but I only got him through my wife. And there's times where she introduces somebody to me, like she'll be like, "What about this person?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." Like I myself talking to this person based off what I'm seeing. But sure enough, like 9 out of 10 times, it ends up like being somebody that like I was like, wow, I really enjoyed that conversation. So she's a huge part of it. But that's pretty much like it's pretty much my wife and I. I have had better success lately with people reaching out, like, hey, they'll recommend people.
Okay.
I had one musical artist recently. She reached out and was like, hey, I got 3 people for you. Boom, boom, boom. And actually one of them I already had on my radar. But the cool thing about that is it allows me to start following different people. So I don't even have to hit them up right away. It's just a matter of being like, let me just watch what's going on with the people and watch what they're doing. And if I get this vibe like, wow, they're really on to something. They're doing their thing with whatever it is. They're passionate about it. I'm curious how that started. I wonder where they're from or how all these questions start popping up. And it's like, I need to get them on. So I've been blessed that I think when we talk, I told you that I was booked already a couple months.
Yeah, you did. Season 3 is like booked up, right?
Yeah, I'm booked now I'm booked August, September, October, and into November now.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just like, that's so fucking dope. But it's also like, it holds my feet to the fire because I can't get lazy. Because a lot of people get this idea like, oh, you do a podcast, that's some easy shit. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You're seeing the end result, but you're not seeing what goes into it. So
I'm
excited. And I know, like, when you jumped on and we talked about a lot of this already, like you understand that. So for all your viewers that are watching this right now, like, podcasting is dope and it's fun, but you got to have a passion for it, because you see a lot of people start podcasting and then they just burn out. They don't really follow through. Nope. It's you got to be consistent, because you're not going to see the results you want right away.
No.
As or views or plays or whatever. And it's just like, you got to eat it. You just got to keep eating it. I love what I'm doing, man. I really do. I love it.
I seen Ice Cube say, like, in an interview recently, he said, like, if you ain't prepared to put in at least 5 years into something without seeing a nickel, without seeing a quarter, he was like, then it ain't for you. Like, he's like especially when it comes to like creation of like content or like, entertainment. He's like, if you ain't willing to put in that kind of work, he's like, then this, don't even try, so to speak. And so, like you said, like, you're not gonna see results right away. The podcast game is the long game for real. And we all working to kind of get to that point. So all right, and then last thing, I guess, so we talked about this on your show, and just how, because I'm every week, I'm bro, it's exhausting. Like, there's certain weeks that, like, if I go solo, it's because like I kind of got behind, or it's some other thing. Oh, well, no, not all the time. Sometimes I go solo and it's like, because no, I got to talk about this right now. You know what I mean? Whatever. And I don't want to necessarily burden somebody like with my topics, and then the conversation doesn't go where I want it to go. So, but you do seasons, right? So you break it up, and like, that sounds nice to take a break, whatever. So I guess what are you doing in the off season, man? Like when you're not recording, what's your off season look like, man? Is it a lot of traveling, vacationing? What you doing out there?
It's not a lot of it, and my wife would like it to be a lot, but it's not a lot of it. But it is definitely like, okay, I have to reprogram my brain, because even though like I'm initiating seasons, you're right. You're constantly, this is a nonstop process. If you're doing this because you love it, you're constantly like thinking, what can I do for the next episode? So I'm trying to reprogram my brain. Lately I've been like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like I should do something. You know what I mean? But like, yeah. I'm not. I put my equipment away. Like, I literally packed it up and put it away, so I can't grab it easily. And so I haven't picked up my laptop in like a month. But what I'm doing really is just, let me just slow down a little bit, the best that I can, and spend time with my family. And we went on vacation, my wife and I, my two oldest, with my mom and my stepdad, and that was dope. And just every week, it is nice, like not having to rush, especially my Wednesday evenings, because that's when I do my interviews.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, she's used to that schedule. So it's nice to be like, oh, wow, this is the 5th Wednesday in a row now where I haven't had an interview. Like, but I know August 1st, the beginning of August, is when I start doing my interviews. So I got like, the remaining month here of July, but it really is just a matter of just like, let me just be still in this with my family, and because they deserve that. They deserve more than that. But like we talked about on my podcast, like there's an end game that I have in mind, and my wife believes in it, and I believe in it, and we've seen enough response that we know this is possible.
Yeah.
I need to dedicate as much of my time to it as possible without kind of like overdoing it and burning out my family and burning out my wife. It's a delicate dance that that we talked about on our episode on my podcast. But yeah, man, but right now I'm chilling, and I'm enjoying the slow paced life. Sometimes it's hard, like I said, I'm like, fuck, man, I should be doing something. I try not to look at things on my phone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Yo, Felix, man. Yo, man, it was a pleasure having you, man. It was a pleasure having you here today, man. Did you enjoy yourself tonight? Did you get a good time?
I think we had a great conversation. I hope you felt that, because I feel like we had a dope conversation. I love your platform and what you're doing. I like I'm impressed on how you brought video into this, and like I don't do that, so I loved it. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see where you're going with 280 plus. It's I listen to as many of your episodes as I can.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, I'm a fan, no doubt.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and even when it comes to that video stuff, I'm always trying to perfect it, because I see some of these YouTube videos and I'm like, bro, how do they do that? Like, I don't even like, what I mean? Like they like, they're good. Like some of these like platforms are just good at like, and it's seamless. And I'm like, how are they, like, how is it not like getting blocked? Yeah, I mean, like, when you use like other content and stuff like that, like just constantly learning.
That's the kind of shit I always thought about. Like, and I think that's why I stay away from it, because that's like, there's a lot of research I think that would have to go into that, right? Like, how do I do without it getting blocked? Like, playing when I like interview other artists, I try not to use their music, not to, but I don't want YouTube to fucking block it. So
because that's the thing too. Sometimes you don't realize like that person, the artist, they didn't even pay for their beat. So so it'll get flagged from, and you'll see this weird thing, and you'll be like, what does that mean? Like, whatever. And it's like, oh, because it is. I remember I used a funny video one time, and like the comedian, it was like his TikTok, like was like, oh, you can still use it, but you can't monetize off of this video or something like that. Like, granted, I'm not at the level of monetization anyway, but I was like, oh, okay. So in my last episode, what I did was there was a comedy bit that I used, but I just used his picture and I kind of covered over it. So it's like you don't see the video, you can hear it, but it's like, so I think that's okay. Like, I don't know. It's always constantly learning, man. Constantly learning. But
yo, when you watch other videos, like you said, you see these other videos and you're like, wow, how they do that. But is it ever flipped for you where you're like, man, they get away with doing that? Like, I could do 10 times better and they got X amount of views and they didn't even really go into the editing process like I do.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I've gotten in trouble too with certain things, because like, and there's certain software like you can use, like sometimes like I use OBS if I'm doing it by myself. I haven't used that in a while because I have a new computer and I gotta set some things up. But yeah, like just the general like reaction channels, you know what I mean, that are on YouTube, whatever. Like I always wonder how they get away with it, and then how they share it so seamlessly, whatever. And again, it's just research. But yeah, there are some people that where like they didn't do no editing, and it's just like, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck is that? Like, you know what I mean, like you know, the ones where like they don't even show their faces, and it's just like video, and it's like them talking over it. Like I'm like, how y'all, like, how is this popular? Like. You know what I mean? Like, how do people like y'all? Like, I mean, like, what, you know, but that's maybe some hating shit. Maybe that's some hating shit to say. You know what I mean? Like
I'm guilty of that too, bro. I'm like, you guys didn't do shit. I'm fucking hating. I'm hating on you.
I'm hating. Yeah. You know, so, but yeah, man. Yo, if y'all still watching the podcast, man, I need y'all, again, y'all need to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I need y'all to check out the JMC podcast with my man Felix C. Arroyo. Yo, before we go, plug whatever you got. Where can people find you on social media, man?
Oh, they can find me anywhere. Facebook, Instagram, look up the Journeyman Chronicles. You can also check out jmcpod.com. That's where you can get all of my episodes and my YouTube videos. It's a one-stop shop there. So follow me, follow the journey. That's what I like to say.
Follow the journey, man. Definitely, man. Definitely. And yo, again, this is another episode of 2D Plus Podcast, y'all. We out. Peace.